What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another one of my videos. Listen, I don't have in my contacts, so I am praying to God, to the gods, that I look alright. Because when I put on my glasses, you guys can see a glare, and that's probably pretty annoying. And today I didn't able to put in no contacts. Sorry. Anyways, guys, I am glad that you're back here. If you clicked the play button, that means you're interested in this topic. Let me give you guys a backstory. So, I am an international student. I'm currently in the US of A. That sounds so. I'm currently in the US. I was born and raised in Guyana, South America, and I moved here when I was about 16, turning 15. I moved here when I was 16, turning 17. God knows I would love to age backwards. But anyways, and I've been here ever since. I've had so many experiences as an international student. No, I don't have a green card. No, I'm not a citizen. Every international student has their own unique experiences. But all in all, once a bunch of international students come in the same room, we could definitely relate to certain things because they're just certain things that... But I wanted to talk about a specific experience of mine where I decided to go to a community college. Let's just face it, community colleges aren't necessarily something that people even look at because it's looked down upon. You know, if you're gonna move to the US and if you're gonna go to college, you're expected to go to this nice big college that everybody knows about. Unfortunately, that was not my route. Let me just say that it costs money. It costs a lot of money. Money is like the biggest factor when deciding that you want to study in the United States and you're not a citizen or a permanent resident. I attended Mercer County Community College, and it is a 2-year college that allowed me to get my associate's degree, after which I transferred to a 4-year college and I finished up my bachelor's degree. But let me just tell y'all how I even ended up going to this community college, why I decided to pursue it, and what my experience was. And then I'm going to get into like the pros and cons of doing a community college and what are the things that I think I would have done if I can go back. I think all these things are very important to hear because a lot of the times you're going to hear, like for most cases, when people move from outside the US and come to the US to study, most times they're going straight to a 4-year college. And most times they want to go to a college that is very prestigious or one that people, when you say the name, they're like, oh, I know that college. Yeah, for me, it wasn't that for me for my first 2 years of my college experience. When I said Mercer, they said, who? But I got through it. I got through it and I'm here. And to be honest with you, I am in a good place. And I'll tell you guys that once you strategically know what you're doing, you're going to end up just as well as someone who decided to do a really good 4-year college. And that's just my experience. That's what I've seen. So sit back, sip some tea, and let's get into the tea. So how did I even get into learning about the community college and starting it and just packing my bags and flying over to the US? So it just so happened that I just finished my CSEC or CXC exams and I was in my gap year. So the year after I finished high school, I was focusing on my swimming career at the time and all that good stuff, and I was working, and also I did do CAPE, but only one subject, unit 1, and I will do another video on all of that, maybe in another video, but let me just continue. During that gap year, I don't know what happened, but there was this recruiter that came from Mercer County Community College, and they just landed in Guyana, and they were trying to recruit international students. Now, as a lot of you may or may not know, a lot of these US colleges want to meet their international student quota. So there was this recruiter who came to Guyana, and it just so happened that I bumped into her, cross paths, and we spoke. There was this American Honors program, and they offered me a partial scholarship as well. I thought about it, spoke to my parents, and we just went for it. I will say my mom was very skeptical because, you know, she didn't want me to go to a community college. She's probably gonna kill me for saying this. But I knew to myself that that was only gonna be for a period. It was only gonna be for 2 years. And then I would transfer to a 4-year college and finish off my bachelor's degree. We decided to move around end of August, and I went to Mercer County Community College in the middle of nowhere in New Jersey. Like not even Jersey City, like go back, like close to Princeton. That's where I was. If you guys want to look it up, you can see like it is literally nobody. Like when I went there, I was like, where are the people? But let me just get into, the pros, the cons. What are the things that like I would do differently? If I could have gone back, we can't go back, but if I could have gone back, what are the things that I would have done differently? So I have my list right here because it's a lot. But let me just start with the pros. So definitely, international students can understand me. The cost. The way I looked at this thing was, hey, like I'm just spending 2 years here. And if you know, like when you're starting college, you're gonna have to do prerequisites to your bachelor's degree, right? And because my bachelor's degree was actuarial science, and my associate's degree was business administration. I aligned my associate's degree with my bachelor's degree so that when I transferred to the four-year college, I didn't have to do all those prerequisites. Now, let's say I decided to go to a four-year college, I would have had to do those same prerequisites that I did at Mercer, but it would have been more expensive. What sense does that make? And to give you guys an idea of how much it is a year at a community college, it's about $7,000 US a year versus some ridiculous four-year colleges, which I didn't go to. For international students specifically, it's like about 25,000 and up for four-year colleges. Like on top of that, I had a partial scholarship, so that helped me as well. For people who are interested in transferring or studying in the United States, that's something that you really, really, really have to consider. Like people take for granted how much money they will have to spend, and that's just tuition. That's not room and board. That's not food, all those things. The second pro is I integrated into a small college, and for me, that was a perfect start for me because I am literally moving to a completely different environment, even though I've traveled to the US and I've kind of seen what it's about, but like integrating myself into a completely new experience, it was nice for me to gradually get into it. Community colleges are generally small, so it was a nice way to start integrating myself into the system. And that brings me to just how personal my relationships became, just because of how small the college was compared to four-year colleges that you might know of. I had a better relationship with my advisor than I did with my four-year college. Like shout out to Liz. I don't even know if she's even gonna see this, but Liz, she was such a great advisor. She was with me before I even got to Mercer. She was helping me find a place. She was helping me find the best location. She even gave me some, what do you call it, like break-in stuff for my apartment at the time. So she got me some plates, like some things that she didn't use. She just sent it to me on my doorstep, and I will never forget that. And I was able to build more personal relationships with people in the community college family or group or whatever you want to call it. And another pro is that I was able to get my associate's degree. Now, if I were to go into a four-year college, I would have to wait until the fourth year to get my bachelor's, provided that school only does bachelor's degrees. But I was able to get my associate's degree at a way cheaper price. And if I decided that I didn't want to do college anymore, at least I would have had my associate's degree in business administration under my belt. So that definitely was a pro for me. Now let's get into the cons. I don't really have that many cons, guys. My first con is that, the moment you start to tell people that you're about to go to a community college, you won't really get that much of a great response. But I will tell you, who cares? Like, why you're doing what you're doing. At the end of the day, my favorite quote is, it's not about where you start, it's about where you end. And honestly, I am very grateful and happy about where I ended. And that was the goal from the beginning. And so if people can't see what you see, that's quite fine and quite normal. And everyone is not going to be able to see what trajectory or what goals you're trying to have for yourself. You just know you trying to save that coin, but at the end of the day, you're going to do what it takes to get the best out of this education. And you're going to make sure that the choices that you make will lead to the goals that you want to achieve. Another con is that because community colleges aren't really looked at as something of importance, they think it's a joke. right? I think that really puts a damper on the student life community as a whole. And so while you're going to school there, you're probably going to hear a lot of the times the students are going to probably make comments about the college, or just talk about, I only here because that's all I could afford, or they're not going to really see the bright side of things. It's and I don't blame them, just because society has already put that feeling that if you don't go to a top-notch school, you ain't worth it. If you don't go to a top-notch school, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I completely understand that, but just, if you decide to take that route, just look out for people just being downers about the situation. And the way to get out of it is to just, again, remember what you are about. And that's just on period. Well, they say in per now, so that's just one per. Is that what people say? I don't know. Now let's talk about, if I were granted the opportunity to go back, what are the things that I would do differently? And really and truly, the only thing I would do differently is I would have researched more on community colleges. I'm just gonna be real with you. Mercer County Community College, as much as I had great experiences, I know for a fact that was not the best community college that I could have chosen. But at the time, we didn't know that much. Like I said, this was very new to me and my family. And, there was just so much red tape, so many documents, so many things happening, that when we were introduced to this opportunity, we just took it and ran with it. Like I had said before, in my gap year, I was focusing on my swimming career, and life happened, and I ended up not really pursuing it anymore, which is kind of sad for me, but it is what it is. And it was very, very hard to keep that up, because my community college did not have a proper swim team. They had a pool, but it wasn't really nothing really. Like, I needed a competitive swimming pool. And had I done more research, I could have probably found a better community college for me that would have had pool access and, a decent swimming team and all that good stuff. And also to, if I were to go back, I would look for the best of the community colleges. Not just go to a community college, but look for the best of the community colleges to see where I can get like a good price, but also a really good experience as well. Other than that, if I were to start this over, I would do a community college again. Yeah, so I hope this video like really helped people get a perspective on community colleges, and community colleges as an international student, and just life in general when trying to start thinking about even moving from your home country to the US. Like, it's a lot to think about, but cha-ching, money, the green, is definitely the biggest factor that people take for granted when it comes to moving. And just to end, like, nowadays, if you're trying to like start off, your life working for someone, or whatever the case is, which more than likely you probably will, people want to see what you bring to the table. Like, yes, having a bachelor's degree under your name is great, but what else do you have to bring to the table aside from academics? Like your thinking, your analytical skills, all those things are things that people think about. You could go to the best school and be dunce as hell because your parents just paid for you to go to that school. So miss me with the going to the best school means that you're automatically the best person. I've seen some of the brightest people come from colleges that aren't so hot, that people don't even know. Granted, there are pros to going to these schools, but it does not define you wholeheartedly who you are. And at the end of the day, it all boils down to this. Once you're able to sell yourself, the world is yours. That's the tip I'm going to leave at the end of that's what I'm going to leave you guys with. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it gives you like an insight as to what an international student has done to get to this point where I am right now. I am no longer in college anymore. I'm finished, and I'm working in the financial field. And homegirl started off at a community college that nobody knew. Alright, so I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Bye guys.